Bonjour watcher, this is Johnny Bang of 45. Welcome back more the fruit of Grisaia. In the last episode we have arrived at the breakdown event. Yeah, we have arrived at the breakdown event where art is an explosion. Now he starts the circle practically around inside her head as the mind tries desperate to make something that stands out of the picture, but it was fragments, nonsense. There was no answer she could accept. Somebody was yelling into her ears. She could understand that it was a voice sound. Was worried about her. She was sitting there glued to the ground, but she couldn't master the purpose decipher her words, much less respond to them. Makina moved an inch from that spot until at last the voice said, "We need to get out of here," and Firm's hands pulls her to her feet.
マキちゃんを寮まで連れ帰ってくれたのは八百屋のご主人でした。最初は病院に連れて行こうとしたらしいのですが、マキちゃんが病院はどうしても嫌だっていうものだからここに連れてきたそうです。
She's not physically injured, right? Yes, but she's mentally injured.
はい、右腕に赤くなる程度の軽い火傷を負っていますが、冷やせばきれいに治ります。ですが
The psychological damage is going to be more severe.
そのようです。
こんな時、私のような女はただただ無力を痛感するわ。
Sakaki's words express my current feelings to the letter. I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm supposed to talk to her. I don't even know what sort of expression I should have on my face when I go to see her. Approach this the wrong way and I might well end up making things even worse. Thoughts like this robs us to the ability to even try. But I suppose there is only one thing I can do, small as it may be.
イリス・マキナが事件に巻き込まれたそうね。
You're the one of things as always. Where do you hear about that?
あなた、蛇の道は蛇って知っている？
Yeah, I am. It's a membership-based information exchange where you sort of people gather, right? Something wrong?
なんで知ってるのよ？誰に聞いたの？相変わらず油断のならない子ね。
Anyway, how much information did you manage to gather over there?
どれくらいと言っても、新聞やニュースと大して変わらないわ。市ヶ谷としても、まだ警戒とも言えない様子見のレベルだしね。
Yeah, does that mean there's a possibility of initiating active observation in the future?
それはあなたの知る必要のないことです。
Julia,
そんな声を出してもダメ。
can I come to your place tonight?
ダメ。
ダメ. I just want to have some good of your home cooking for the first time in a while. Still no good?
そんなこと言ったって、ダメなものはダメなんだからね。
Huh. When you refuse me that stubbornly, it says Julia is admitting there's a high chance the problem is going to get worse. Does this have to do with you not picking up your phone lately? The news show seems to be pushing a theory that this was an act of terrorism motivated by the construction of a nuclear power plant. What's the real story?
答えられないわ。
I see. Sorry, I'm not looking to harass you here, but can you answer two more questions? Whatever information you can give me is fine.
言ってみなさい。聞くだけは聞いてあげる。
How is Makina's younger sister doing?
ニュースで流れている通りよ。命は取り留めたものの、予断を許さない状況が続いているわ。
Oh, will she make it?
なんとも言えないわね。皮膚や臓器の移植が必要なレベルだとの情報が入っているし、近いうちに海外に移送して提供者を待つという噂もあるわね。
Don't tell me Makina is going to be a donor. I don't know.
質問はそれだけ？
My apologize. No, there's one other on an unrelated topic. This is the one thing I really want to know.
でしょうね。いいわ。言ってみなさい。
If Makina's sisters end up losing her current position due to her injuries, is there a possibility Makina will be expected to resume that role?
その回答は拒否するわ。
Let me rephrase it then. Is there a possibility Makina is going to be in danger going forward?
あなた、どこまで嗅ぎつけているの？
Essentially nothing. My nose is just twitching. That's all. It was basically a leading question.
そうね。このままあなたに憶測だけでおかしな行動を取られても迷惑だし、正直なところを話しておくけど、イリス・マキナに危険が及ぶ可能性は決して低くはないわね。
And that's where the part Yuji will die if I choose wrong end. Wait, Yuji died. Yeah, Yuji died.
私の見立てでは 70% の確率で何らかの接触があるでしょうね。
And it's up to Papa to save her from this.
だけど、その件に関しては近いうちにあなたに声がかかる可能性が高いわ。
Don't do stupid thing, Yuji. Stay out of Makina's way.
だから今は余計なことをしないでちょうだい。通常通り命令に備えて待機していなさい。
Nope, I will not do that. In other words, no independent use of force outside the range of self-defense.
その通り。犬は犬らしく、主人が紐を引くまで小屋でおとなしくしていなさい。怪しい人が来たら、ふてくされてないで、ちゃんと吠えるのよ。
Can I really trust you on this?
飼い主を疑うな。それがいい犬の第一条件よ。あの朝子でさえ、命令無視なんて数えるほどしかしなかったんだから。
Oh, alright, try counting that.
1回、2回、3回、4、5、6、7。
You're running out of fingers, fast.
うるさいな。あの女の真似をしたってろくなことにならないわよ。いいから命令があるまでおとなしくしてるの。いい？わかった？
Yes, mommy.
あんたみたいな可愛くない子、産んだ覚えはないわよ。話はそれだけ？もう切るわよ。
Yeah, thanks. I'll be in touch. Oh, well then, what to do? It's clear that things are going to get troublesome in a number of ways, but as always, I'm in the dark on the specific details. If JB is telling me to do nothing, that's probably the optimal choice at the moment. Even so, that doesn't make it any easier to accept. Get moving before you start thinking too much was a favorite saying of my master's, but JB's fond of acting on the basis of incomplete information is like asking for disaster. For now, it might be a wisest just to stay at Makina's side as much as possible while I prepare myself for the possibility of an emergency. There's no need to overthink this. I know what I want to protect. I can see it clearly now. Ideally, I do love to extinguish the source of this fire before the sparks spread in our direction. But if that's not a possibility, I just need to be ready for when the things do get ugly. After all, you won't find many guard dogs with nastier fangs than mine. I've been sharpening these teeth for a very long time for this exact purpose. Teeth made to catch prey by the tail, drag them close and rip out the windpipe in one bite. Amani's room. Although hearing of her sister's survivals calmed Makina down significantly, the events of yesterday are still painfully fresh in her mind. She shows us a brave attempt at a smile but can't hide the weariness beneath it. When the girls declare herself uninterested in breakfast, I enlist Sanchi's assistance. And together we prepare a unique but nutritious Makina pumpkin soup for Amani's recipe notebook. Oh yeah, Amane is at Tokyo, yeah. Makina refused the meals with almost frightened the expression on her face, but proceeded to pin her arms behind her back as our reliable maid emotionlessly glanced spoonful of food into her mouth. Through this admirable display of teamwork, we successfully force-feed the girls in breakfast her body needs. I know baby, a little hard to eat right now, but your injuries won't heal if you don't get adequate nutrients.
大げさなのよさ。こんなのちょっと日焼けしたようなもんなのよ。
You were lucky this time, yes. Just be grateful the explosion didn't give you an afro. It might sound like a joke, but the hot pulse from air from an explosion burns your hair starting from the tips, sometimes curling it pretty dramatically. As a general rule, it's a good idea to brush a hand over your head when a bomb blast goes by. Often as not, cinders that used to be part of your hair will fall off like sesame seeds from a plant. Alright, this is a good opportunity. Why don't I teach you the anti-explosive self-defense procedures?
何それ？こ 言葉の響きだけでもちょっとかっこいい感じなのよさ。
Why the background is suddenly change? Listen up, Makina. Ever heard some guys in the suit motors is getting dangerous these days while looking at over their morning paper? Well, that's not just the rapid chase catchphrase of self-satisfied middle-aged man who thinks they have figured out how the world works. As you were reminding yesterday, there truly are countless dangers lurking all around us. When such threats arise, they arise suddenly, and all too often we are completely unprepared to defend ourselves. Indeed, such complacent carelessness has become an unfortunate element of our national character. This is the very reason Japan has earned the disgraceful title of pacifist among the major powers.
おお、なんかまた面倒なことを言い始めたって思ってるけど、お首にも出さずに真摯に受け止めているふりをしておくよ。
Look, kid, even if you're thinking that sort of things, it's better not to actually say it.
ごめんよ。そんで大爆はどうなった？
Okay, let's try this again. I now initiate you in the basis of personal defense against explosions. Listen carefully. The fundamental principle is low to the ground. An explosion coming, get down first and think later.
爆発の危険を察知したらまず伏せろ。
Indeed, go proud and get yourself as flat to the ground as you possibly can. With the exception of some specialized design charges, explosion naturally tends to direct their power upward. It has a foxhole nearby, claim it, no matter if it's full of the breeze with a mixture of muddy waters and increment. No matter if your body pathetic cause is lying inside, just in without a moment hesitation.
迷わずタコツボに飛び込め。
After this, assume the anti-explosion position. There's a small flap or cartilage in front of your ear hole to ground the triggers. Strongly press down on this with your thumbs to protect your eardrum. Next, open your mouth wide. This reduces the burden on your eardrums and keep your lungs from popping like balloons under the pressure of the shockwave.
耳を塞いで口を大きく開け。爆発から鼓膜を守る。
You experience for yourself just how powerful that shockwave is, so I'm sure you can understand, but don't underestimate that pressure. When the explosion occurs indoors, it's even more powerful. If you're close to the blast, it's like being squeezed in the hand of the giant. The pain is intense. Sometimes the pressure can push your eyes clean out of their sockets. While pressing the triggers on both ears with your thumbs, use the remaining fingers to cover your eyelids. Keep your eyelids frame them low and defend them against the flash of the explosion.
両手の指でまぶたを押さえ、爆発と閃光から眼球を守ります。
Good, alright, then next up we begin image training based on the hypothetical scenarios. Situation as follows: recurring missions to sub-trooper jungles, the time zones. The enemies are powerful local gorillas. They are well equipped and have excellent morale into the scenario.
状況に入ります。
Enemy raids! As I write this next, I can throw yourself flat to the ground. The enemies ambush you. Your position is pinned down by the machine gun fire. Don't raise your head an inch. Keep the chin nose to the ground and crawl along the ground to the trench visible ahead. This night, Sochima can cruise along the floors on her knees and elbows, clutching an imaginary rifle. A moment later, she slipped her body into the space between the bed and the table.
くぼちみ確保。
As Makina screams this report, she repositions an imaginary iron helmet on her head in order to regain a clear field of vision. Now, however, she seems to be pretty deeply into the scenario. Incoming for enemy position, M69, a serious explosive defense position.
大爆防御。
Makina probably pumps up on both ears, open her mouth wide and slow pressure on her eyelids. Lowering her body as close to the ground as she can, she melts her body with a charge dancing in the perfection for the blast. Kaboom! You therefore, your realistic are in the air. Shrapnel has just dropped your left both arms. Get it down. Get the ass down. I quickly step down Makina's rear at the excited point.
ケツを下げます。
On yo! Basic readiness techniques to throw at 2 seconds intervals. Then has one come a serious explosive defense position.
大爆防御。
Okay, kaboom!
ちょっと朝っぱらからどんどんうるさいわよ。何やってんのよもう。
Just your typical early morning anti-explosive trainings. If you think of it as an expression of diligent devotion to national defense, doesn't this almost bring a tear to your eye? You are welcome to join in, Michiru.
やんないわよ。つうか何よ対爆訓練って。
As you know, Makina's happened on the scene on the terror bombing yesterday afternoon. Accordingly, we are training to deal with similar scenarios. There is no downside to acquire as many survival skills as you can.
何かと思えばバカバカしい。
The baka is you, Michiru.
班長殿、有事の際に真っ先におっちんの間抜けを発
間抜けって言うな。別に訓練自体はバカにしてないわよ。でもこんな大騒ぎするようなこともっと静かにやりなさいな。
Well, I thought a silly over-the-top game might briefly get Makina's mind off the fact that her little sister is fighting for her life, but... Ah, Yuji, why you say that?
思い出させてどうすんのよ。
Sorry about that, Makina. Michiru says we are being too noisy, so he says we have to call this training off.
へえ。
It may be nothing by any society drill, but if the local civilian populace can be convinced, we have no choice but to discontinue it. Please understand, Makina.
ちょっと私が全部悪いみたいに言わないでくれる？
じゃあチルチルも一緒にやる？
それは。
Well, I mean, I don't understand what you're trying to say, Michiru. In reality, there are also any persons encounter a dangerous situation in their lifetimes are probably fairly low. It's more likely that this training will end up being meaningless. But worst comes to worst, all the people who waste a few minutes planning for their what ifs be the one who get out alive. Isn't that what survival skills are? For example, Michiru, let's say you take a vacation abroad to a country where the fire laws are well defined or reinforced. As you gobble down a taste locally, let's say a fire breaks out in a crowded restaurant. As panicked customers tend to push their ways through the single doorways, you glance outward and notice the flames slowly reach their way to the cylinder of propagate. What do? Think fast. Well, this is the differences between a person who's been training and a helpless spectator.
やけに具体的じゃないのよ。
I'm sure most of this is going to one ear and out of the other. You're probably not even taking me seriously, but even so, there's something I feel obligated to tell you. Those who laugh at the diligent self-improvement of others will end up crying in the end. Without fail, try to remember that.
なんか私間違ってた？
チルチル、間違わない人なんていないんだよ。そして間違いに気がついたのなら正せばいいんだよ。人生をやり直すのに遅いなんてことはないのよさ。
Wow, Makina!
今すぐ正していけば全然間に合うんだよ。だってチルチルはまだ生きているんだから。
なんかちょっといいこと言ってる風じゃない。まさか解かれた。マキナに人生を解かれたというの、この私は。
In conclusion, it doesn't matter if your approach is a kind of a game. Remembering the basic principle somewhere in the corner of your mind is good enough. Why not join our anti-explosive training, Michiru?
すげえ、チルチルにって言わせちゃったのよさ。この男、口先だけで完全に一人の女を丸め込んじゃったよ。やっぱパパはすげえのな。
Didn't we just go over this? Even if you think stuff like that, don't actually say it.
私騙されてる？騙されてないよね。
Michiru, my friend, think this over carefully. I have no reason to deceive you. Even if I did, hypothetically, it would be a result of my concern for your well-being. You understand?
すげえ、この男すげえ。
When we use the phrase sweet talking, the noise is usually fairly negative. You tend to imagine someone causing an innocent through sincere lip service, but there's nothing inherently wrong about persuasions. For example, if I sweet talk Michiru into re-examining her values, I peacefully brought her around to my way of thinking. Is it an admirable alternative to conflict? Granted, it's hard to feel so self-satisfied about this particular outcome.
尻の位置が高い。破片でケツ吹き飛ばされるぞ。ケツだけ先に故郷に返す気か、貴様。こらー。すいませんあるかボケ。返事はレンジャーだと教えたばっかりだろうが、貴様。レンジャー。
This is awful. It's just too much. Michiru passes herself flat to the earth in an explosive defense position. Makina mashed her chin down to her posterior, snaring viciously. Giving a slight glimmer of conscience in that. The girl at least removed her boots first, but seriously, where did she even pick up this demon? When Ring trained instructors routines, she is especially proficient at the verbal abuse.
ちょっとユージ
What's up?
なんだじゃないわよ。あんたたちが普段やってるレンジャーごっこっていっつもこんなことやってるわけ？
I would just say always, but in general we engage in roughly similar activities.
ごっこでしょ。ごっこよね。なんであの子こんなに本気なわけ？
Harsh training is a good thing. When you're actually in the field, isn't the thought that drill restructure put me through worse than this kind of reassurance? Approach your drills like better and better like your drills.
それ間違ってない。だって私たち学生よ。
There's nothing wrong with the theory. If anything is wrong about this scenario, would it be the way you swallow my crap, hook, line, and sinker?
やっぱり騙されてた。
どうしたどうした、早速泣き言か。気合が足りないからそんな弱音が出るのよさ。
Run, Michiru.
よーし、気合を入れ直してやる。鏡跳躍30回。よーい。
鏡跳躍？
頭の後ろで手を組んで片膝立てて右足左足って交互にジャンピングスクワットするのよさ。私が横でやるから真似するのよ。はい、鏡跳躍よーい。
鏡跳躍よーい。
はい、はい、貴様、何膝をパキパキ鳴らしておるか。それにもっと高く飛べ。地上15センチだ。最初からやり直し。はい、だから膝を鳴らすなよ。もう
Ma.
仕方がないでしょうが。
Well, I don't think wrestling news honestly matter much either way, but firstly, your balls over and arbitrary little things they can find is a drill instructor's job. The girl seems oddly professional about this, down to the strangest little details. Have to admit it, this might feel a little too realistic for a game. Ah, Makina, your cell phone seems to be ringing.
本当だ。誰からだろう。
Makina takes out her cell phone and runs to check out the call ID screen, but... What's wrong? Aren't you going to answer that?
レンジャー松島、私が戻るまで続けるように。
レンジャー。
With those words, Makina throws out towards the nearby rescue parking space, her cell phone still buzzing away. The gospel people calling Makina's cell phone so many would be far the most likely possible, followed by communist such as. But the call was from either then, she hardly need to be so secretive about it.
16、17、18。
Hey there, Michiru, you can stop now, stop. Sorry about dragging you into the game.
ねえユージ、なんか私ちょっと楽しくなってきたかも。
Are you okay, my friend? Very good for you.
じゃあかいいいじゃん。
Your niece. Michiru sneezed rather violently as she continues her vigorous leaps. Depending on how you look at it, the strange smile on her face should she has delirious expression of a soldier fallen prey to self-destructive despair. However, this is pretty heavy training exercise given the heat, so I suppose a bit of temporary lunacy isn't surprising. Heat and exhaustion often make people go a little off in the head. However, the person in question usually doesn't realize it. Asako once told me a story from the time she's been shipping off to a war in South America. An unending heat, combined with the enemy bombings that came like clockwork every day, had worn out her nerves to the point of numbness. Eventually, the company commander was wounded in action, and a new first lieutenant who arrived on the rail took over. He was apparently a timid man, prompt to tremble in his trench when the bombs began to fall. Asako found his shaking so hilarious that she spent the entire duration of the attacks cackling uproariously. The lieutenant interpreted this as a sign of derangement and prompt had her ship back home. What's abnormal? What's normal? Depends entirely on your circumstance and perspective. Granted, I tended to interpret Michiru's current actions as evidence that she is lost it, but to Michiru this course of action might seem like the most reasonable thing in the world. But just as I pondered this possibility, the girl suddenly stops moving entirely. Striking out, she wrapped her arm around her knees and begins to murmur distinctively at the ground. Given this heat and her clear physical exhaustion, it's possible that her brain just melted in the stream of lactic acid.
パパ、
Oh, hey Makina. What's up? Who was that?
おじいちゃまから。
Graham, Whoopi?
私のママのパパ。
The former head of the Irisu family, eh? And what did he have to say?
ここじゃちょっと。
I think that can sense it somewhere a little more private.
ボス
Pause. Actually, hold on just 1 second. Mind if I ask you a quick question before we go, Makina? Quick question.
何？
What does the word pause signify?
知んない。っていうか、そこ気になっちゃったの？膝抱えてゴロゴロ転がってるチルチルじゃなくて？
I mean, she's laughing, right?
じゃ、いっか。
よくないわよ。いたもういたあははは。なんで笑ってる私。あははは。
Michiru, you have gone insane, my friend. Bye. Michiru sees the botched landing and twists her ankles. The hair backer had clearly done enough on the girl. She's like hysterically and start confusing pain with pleasure. Well, now what to do for the moment? Makina and I stood down to the girl at the distance and poked her with a stick. Fortunately, Sachi happens to pass by 5 moments later. After we explain the situation, she said leave it to me and leave the courtyard at a trot. Assuming the man had run off to call an ambulance or something of the sort, we wait by Michiru's side, offering encouraging words. This continues for about 50 minutes or so. At long last, Sachi returns in a pristine white man uniform, carefully singing wee woo, and proceeds to nimbly snap together 4-day aluminium stretchers. She changed clothes first. I'm certain we're all thinking it, but nobody dares to actually voice the words. In any case, Mike and I go with the flow and trust Michiru to her newness and sticky cat. Then off our brave college, a deeply sincere salute as she rolled off in the cart with stretches like a cylinder of propane on the cart. Bye, Michiru. Uh-oh, a breakdown music. Yes, so are you willing to tell me about that call?
っていうか、パパには聞いてほしいのよさ。
I will listen.
はい、マキナです。
おう、マキナか。久しぶりだな。
はい、おじいちゃま、お久しぶりです。でも、どうして急に？
すまんがマキナ、もう少し大きな声で。私ももう年でな、耳がよう聞こえん。
The person on the other car at the end was Makina's grandfather. The car had been placed directly by Irisu's Haruchika, the man who led the Irisu clan before his retirement.
お前ももう知っとるとは思うが、サリナが事故に遭った。
あれは事故なんかじゃないよ、おじいちゃま。
事故なんだよ、マキナ。あれは不幸な事故だ。わかるか？
わかりたくもないよ。
マキナよ、どうだ？そろそろ家に帰ってこんか？
今さらだよ、おじいちゃま。何を今さら言い出すんだよ。
そう怒るな。私がお前の見舞いに行かなかったのにも、それなりの理由があってだな。それに、私はお前が退院したことも、先日まで知らされておらんかった。
What a bad grandparents! A faction within the branch house, afraid of Makina's potential returns, might have been deliberately prevented that information from reaching him. However, when a hefty check of 70 million yen was issued in Makina's name, and the query from the bank found its way directly to her grandfather, only then did he learn Makina has been released sometime before.
私は、お前が未だに廃人状態のまま、長期入院していると聞かされていたんだ。退院したのなら、なぜ顔を見せに来ない？
Nazira. Makina struggles to find an answer to her grandfather's
正
question.
隆君のことをまだ気にしておるのか？あれは事故だったんだ。
Her father, the person she loved more than anyone else in the world, was gone. All that was left was her nasty, high-strung mother, her grandmother who used to stare at her with the cool eyes of someone contemplating a broken toy. Her kind but willfully blind grandfather utterly unreliable when push came to the shove, and the savage who suffocated her spirit justified everything with the word, "I'm afraid these were my instructions." At a glance, the house offered everything a person could possibly want, but it was a hollow shell full of hollow people, a gilded prison. It was the sort of place where I say I want to learn how to ride a bike, who resort in someone buying you a purebred horse you hadn't even asked for. What was there to miss about a home like that?
おじいちゃま、私はもうあの家には戻りたくない。
Watashi wa. There's no doubt they take good care of her if she returned, but only because they value her as an asset or respected her position. Nobody there would even try to understand Makina herself. Some might say, so what? Sounds like a pretty good kid, and maybe they wouldn't be wrong. Others might say you ran home from home, but you are still going to this school on your family's money, living completely freely. What right do you have to complain? And she could argue the point. But even so, just thinking about returning to the house made Makina's eyes filled with tears. Everything that was precious to her, everything she needed to by herself. Her individuality and personality, all such inconvenient baggage, would be ruthlessly thrown away. Money and power wrapped people beyond recognition. Makina knew that all too well. She was simply afraid of the house.
お前の気持ちはわかる。背負うものの大きさを考えれば、誰もができる仕事ではなかろうし、それが恐ろしくもあろう。だが、それゆえに、お前にしかできん仕事でもあるということだ。戻ってこい、マキナ。
No, 嫌だ。
嫌だよ、おじいちゃま。マキナはもう昔のマキナじゃないのよさ。もう昔みたいにはなりたくないのよ。
マジでか。
マジですか。
マジだよ。おじいちゃま、ごめんね。もう嫌なの。耐えられないのよさ。
そうか。しかし、そうは言っても、誰も認めんだろうな。
Someone will go and get you.
なあ、そうだな。すぐに戻れとは言わん。しばらく考えてみたらどうだ？ 1 年後の自分、10年後の自分、そして30年後の自分がどうなっているかをよーく考えて、それからどうするか決めるといい。
多分おじいちゃまはっていうか宗家の人たちは私のこと諦めてないと思う。もしかしたら今回の爆破事件だって私を家に戻すために宗家の人たちが起こしたのかもしれない。
If they screw up even slightly, you're gonna blow. If they screw up even slightly, you could have gonna blow away too.
もし事件を起こしたのが宗家の人たちなら、私があの場に居合わせたのは本当に想定外のことで、相当慌てたと思う。
I don't really follow all these business with the main family and branch family. At the end of the day, what are their objectives here? I know Makina is from the main family and Sarina is from the branch family.
結局のところ、これは宗家と分家のお家騒動なのよさ。宗家筋直系の私と分家の代表の妹、どっちが入助を継ぐかの争いで、あの人たちの目的はお金と権力。
Huh. I'm not familiar with the exact details, but I understand the scale of the price we are talking about. There is a family long-standing assets extend to countless subsidiaries, both foreign and domestic. They are not just prominent in industrial manufacturing, financials and retails, but also major players in iron and steel, shipbuilding and even armaments. The money flowing through the industry apparently rivals the budget of a small country. A pencil made by the Irisu scratches down your names on the birth or certificates in the government office. Your info imported by the Irisu in your school cafeteria as you grow. And thanks for employment in an enterprise under the Irisu's umbrella. When you grow sick, you are taken to an Irisu hospital and when you die, you rest under a great store manufactured by the Irisu. If you are born in Japan, it's all but impossible not to interact with that family in some way. But despite this astonishingly wide influence, the name Irisu white itself will probably get you a blank stare as often as not. The brands in the conglomerate included many household names, but the parent company itself is fairly obscure. They say those with real powers don't tend to advertise it, like the all nobility hidden up above the clouds. And it is the Makina who stands to inherit the seat at the very top of this lofty house, is still in her teens. Practically a child. Who could blame the girl if she panicked in the face of that burden if she ran away and tried to hide? Your grandfather said you don't have to come back immediately, didn't he? In that case, it seems to me you should start by mulling this over first of all whether you are going to return to your family or not. And once that's settled, figure out what you're going to do when you return or what you're going to do when you refuse. What you really want to do from now on. Your grandpa gave you the chance to deliberate about this, right?
そうだけど、でもおじいちゃまだっていつまでも待っていてくれるわけじゃないと思うのよ。
Not a problem. I'll get you as much time as you need.
どうやって？
That depends on how they want to play. I haven't settled on any specific plans yet, but I'm ready to do anything I need to.
なんても？
That's right, don't you remember? I made you a promise, Makina. Even if everyone else in the world became your enemy, I will protect you. Those words were just for sure. I really will do whatever I possibly can. You don't need to worry about a thing. Just go about your normal life, exactly as you have.
でも。
Don't worry, you're giving me fair compensation for my services. There's nothing to feel guilty about it. You're important enough to me that I was willing to make promise. Hell, at this point, you become my purpose in life. I live it for your sake, and I will die for your sake. I've been preparing for that from the start. My conclusion, there's no problem here. I will kick the crap out of every last jackass to be enough to harass you. You just sit back and see what a man who found something to protect can do.
いいの？それでいいの？
I'm your father, remember? Showing off in front of your kids like this is what we do. There's nothing a father doesn't know. No problem he can't overcome. In other words, let's think this over carefully. Whether your choice, I will save it absolutely and support you with everything I got.
Papa!
Overcome emotions, even beginning to sob, little Makina darts her upper lower body to the ground and rushed toward. A split second later, her forehead smacked to my solar plexus with a solid thump. To be perfectly honest, the impact shot is difficult even to breathe properly. But sinking to my knees here would probably help me to keep the girl's heart won trust. Yeah, extremely listening and tense as why I grabbed hold of Makina's fuzzy little head and squeezed her tightly against my chest. Strongly and strong in the protective bed of hug of a reliable parent. After that day, I attempt to stay close by Makina's side as much as possible. I sincerely doubt there will be many idiots reckless enough to try to pull anything inside the school. Essentially, a strong hope for Sakaki's family, but preparing for that long shot. What if it's my job? Fortunately, I've been trained in the guarding someone without even allowing them to realize they'll be protected. The only real problem is night. Yeah, Makina cannot sleep. Without a doubt, human beings are most defenseless when they are sleeping. It's the ideal time for the rape or kidnapping attempt. And even I'm not capable of staying awake constantly to protect her as she sleeps. As the single simplest countermeasure, it would be ideal if I could arrange to spend my nights with Makina, but...
今日からパパの部屋でパパと一緒に寝てもいいかな？
Amane has come back. Welcome back, Amane-chan. Cut off. Okay, I said rather abruptly quiet. Amane stayed Makina's face for a long time, then turned her laser eyes gaze at me. Makina especially is unusually serious with no hint of standard messing around. And although this would be usually probably, I delivered a karate chop to that well-positioned head of hers. I still stand quietly behind the girl without raising any objection. Apparently, Amane sees something strange in the air. She lets her alongside and not speaking to herself.
マキナ、あんた自分が何を言っているかちゃんと分かってる？あんたが決めたのなら私は何も言わない。でも一度決めたのならちゃんと最後まで頑張るのよ。怖かったり痛かったりしても途中でやめてって言っちゃダメよ。永遠に続く夜なんてない。必ず朝は来るから頑張るのよ。
うん。 頑張るけど。
ユージもマキナが痛がってたり苦しんでたりしたら自分の都合ばっかりじゃなくマキナのこともちゃんと考えてあげなきゃダメよ。
Well, yeah, that's the plan.
それとちゃんと否認はするのよ。コンドーム持ってる？
Do I need to wear that? Okay, Amane, let me return that question for a moment ago. Do you have any idea what you are saying?
え？
Where does the card aid, woman? Although it seems there may be a slight discrepancy in our understanding the situation, it also agreed that Makina will spend her nights in my room. Regrettably, my room only has one bed and it's a single. It wouldn't be so bad to huddle together for a while in the winter, but at this time of the year, the idea is not particularly appealing. Literally, the bed, Makina spread out the mat and sleeping back on the floor for myself.
一緒に寝てはくれないのね。
Little hot for that, don't you think? At my old school, times at night was lights out time, and by 11 they cut the electricity to the doors entirely, even the air conditioners were dead. In other words, I felt accustomed to sleep under hot and stuffy conditions, but there's hardly any need to go out on my way to recreate the experience. And also, if by any chance someone really did attack, we'd be better off sleeping at a different point in the rooms. Attacking team probably lead off by knocking at the door. Just as I getting up to reach for the knob, they blast the lock upper and down hinge with simultaneous shotgun fire. As I flinch back with reflexing team, he crashes in through the window on the opposite side of the room and pins us both down. I'd be able to hold them off for even 30 minutes. Compared to me and Makina's huddled together in one bed where we can easily be in circle. Despite the outside on the bed and floor expand the area, I thought give me a small option. Alright, time to sleep. Get in the bed.
うん。
Momly approval listening, Makina turns around to face away from me, then around to begin pulling off her clothes on the spot. After stripping down to her underpants, she takes the big t-shirts, not on losing her, presumably her hands made up for Amane's, and pulled it over to her head as sleepwear. Might be a t-shirt to Amane, but on Makina's is a one-piece dress. Resisting a sudden urge to smile open my window and trap the towel I used after my shower outside to dry. I kept the position the towel just low enough to hide the bed, Makina's crawling into almost completely, and deliberately leave the curtain open. Curtains open for anyone they're interested in observing this room. These strips of fabric will present a small simple hindrance. If the bath towel's position shifts even slightly overnight, it will suggest resistance or someone looking inside. The degree and direction of the movement they couldn't even help determine the point from which they are observing us. Basic tricks like this won't be off the accomplished professional, but a multitude of small insurance policy is the best way to keep things safe and quiet. And the episode, my friend. Thank you for watching my video.
セーブするわ。
My video just for fun. Don't take heart, brothers and sisters. Okay? Magic word time. Adios e famosa.